Hi, and welcome to episode number 10 of the Introvert Biz Growth Podcast, the show where I talk to introverts who grow their business and make a difference. I'm Sarah Zanacroce, your host, and I'm thrilled that you're spending this time with me today. Today I'm talking to Jana Bachollet, an introverted online entrepreneur who's based in Geneva, just half an hour drive away from me. However, I did not know that as we were introduced by a common connection. More about that in our chat. Jana is an online marketing mentor with over 10 years of experience in online marketing. She teaches women entrepreneurs how to use online marketing tools without spending a fortune or pulling out hair. So they don't have to depend on a virtual assistant or a programmer to get some things done. She also gets stuff done for you if you prefer to get some work off your plate. Hi Jana, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. We were just complaining offline about the weather, and it's funny because the last probably 3 podcasts I always started with this intro saying, "Oh, it's been raining here." So it's been that kind of a summer, hasn't it?
It's been going on for a while, and I think we're all ready for the real summer.
Yeah, exactly. So, Jana, tell me, besides the official bio that I just read in the intro, can you tell us a little bit about something that maybe my introverted audience can relate to?
Sure. So quickly about myself, I come from Slovenia. I'm currently in Switzerland. And I think one thing that I can share with the audience about that is, as an introvert, having a sort of an international move is already something that kind of goes outside of the comfort zone as sort of like by default. And it was something when I did 6 years ago, it was challenging. It was something that kind of puts you really outside of comfort zone, simply because as introverts, I think most of us have to sort of have to make extra effort to create the network, to engage with the environment, to learn the new language. So that's something that I had to go through, but obviously I chose to do that. So I think anyone who's done that before, who's changed the environment, would probably relate.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I did it when we moved to California in 2006. And it was a little bit easier maybe because I had small children at the time. And so whenever, you have something in common with other people, like, children, you go to playgrounds. And I remember there was these mom clubs that I was part of that made it a little bit easier. But yeah, it's definitely a stretch to get thrown out of your, comfort zone at home and your friends and family and have to build a new life, really.
Yes, it's like pulling out roots. You pull out all the roots, you don't have your friends nearby, your family isn't there. So you have to start growing these new roots. And it takes a little while. And I think that's something that's important to acknowledge, with whatever change there is that's going on, is like sometimes things will take time, especially if, as an introvert, it might take more time to make more friends than someone who will be able to make friends in the first week or the first month.
Yeah, that's very true, because we as introverts have a tendency to have fewer friends, but very deep friendships, right? And so for us just to go out there and do small talk and pretend that we're friends is just not very fulfilling. And I can definitely relate to that. Even in the US, I had very many, acquaintances, but not really one person that I thought that I could relate to and really have this deep friendship. Yeah.
I think it probably relates as well to how we define friendships. I don't know if it goes to introverts, extroverts, or cultures, but I think in the European culture, at least, friends are some people that are much closer, as a circle closer to you than acquaintances. Whereas I think friends maybe in other cultures are considered people you might be in touch with here and there, but not share intimate details of your life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that has nothing to do with being introvert or extrovert. But I remember my son as well, when we moved, we had to take him out of school, and he's an introvert as well, my eldest. And it took him 2 years to really be comfortable again and find two friends that, he hangs out with on a regular basis. So yeah, I agree. It's very much harder. Great. Well, just to mention that the fact that you're in Switzerland, I was so happy to find out about that, because I contacted a common friend that we have, and she's actually in the US. And I said, I'm looking to interview introverts. Do you know any? And she's like, yeah, Jana, she's in, I don't know, somewhere close to you. I'm like, where? Well, in Geneva. I'm like, what? That's like half an hour away. So very happy to find out about that.
And it's funny because when Lisa mentioned to me that, Sarah is in your neck of the woods, and I thought, for a US person to say that might mean that you are from the UK or maybe in Greece, because for them distance is a different kind of perception.
Yeah.
And when I learned that you are basically like half an hour drive away, that was almost mind-blowing.
Yeah, exactly. And we're doing very similar things with online business, which is not very common here yet. So
True.
Yeah. All right, Jana, let's go into a little bit of this kind of taboo topic, which is revenue. And I'd like to know how you are currently generating revenue. What kind of revenue streams do you have, services, products, etc.?
Sure. So I started my business in April this year. So that's 2 months ago. And my current services are basically two types. One is e-courses. So I have a couple of e-courses already. Some are free and some are paid. And the e-courses are basically for people who want to just learn how to do a specific thing. So it could be learning how to create visuals with Canva, or how to make changes on your website, as well as an e-course on how to run webinars. So video instructions on how to do that, and how to organize your business in 4 weeks. So those are the ones that I currently have, and I'm developing more. And then what I also do is I have one-on-one work. I do one-on-one work with clients who want help with their business. So it could be with their online marketing, with setting up systems in how to organize their business, or with project management. So I basically either teach someone how to do that, or I do it myself. So I would go in and kind of figure out what people would want, and they would give me the project, and I would be managing the project and making sure that the things are done on time and on good quality, so that someone who has a plate that's too full can just hand over some of the tasks to me, and therefore they can focus on what they're better at.
Okay. So you have basically the do-it-yourself video course, and
Yes.
then for those people who don't want to do it themselves, they can get in touch.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think especially the Canva course, I thought, oh, that's interesting. I have a lot of people asking me, how do you do that? And it seems, at least for me, it seems very intuitive. But if you've never used picture software, then I'm sure a quick video course will be really helpful. So
Yeah.
I make sure to put the link of that into the show notes.
Mm-hmm. And I think, with what you said about some things being intuitive to us, anyone who's an expert on anything, and I think we all are experts on something, it's hard sometimes to imagine that someone might benefit from learning from you. Because it's so intuitive for us, or we've been using it for so long, but then being able to break it down and show how to do things and explain, that's also a quality, I think.
Yeah, that's true. And in recent interviews, what came up in terms of the strengths, my next question basically is empathy. Introverts seem to have more empathy than extroverts or other people. So maybe that has to do with that, being able to teach, because you put yourself on their level and you put yourself in their shoes, and you can really explain with the terms that they understand as well, right?
Yeah, that's true. And I think it also comes probably from experience in working with others. And I guess as you said, introverts may be able to pick up more the clues of someone who's listening and not understanding, so you can sort of change or adapt your communication to make sure that it's understandable and not too techy or complicated.
Yeah, yeah. Great. Well, let's talk about your introverted superpowers.
So I think one of the strengths that I'll also mention as a weakness at the same time is being able to work alone. Until recently, I used to work in a team, and as much as I liked working in a team environment, and there are pros and cons, I have no problem working on my own. And I think that's what's really a strength when you have your own business, because you have to be your own boss, you have to set your own goals, you have to follow your own, priorities and set your day. So a lot of the people, and I know some who cannot work alone, they really thrive on getting feedback from others or working in a team and having one specific role, which is great. It's not one is bad and one is not. It's just that I think in this having an online business or having your own business, it's a strength to be able to say, yes, I can spend the whole day alone without necessarily talking to someone. And I think that's what actually ends up being a strength for someone who's an introvert.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm curious to hear why you also say it's a weakness.
Well, it's a weakness because I think it's good that you sometimes stretch and go out and seek human interaction and seek feedback and share ideas with others or work in teams. So for myself, I know that I want to have that interaction, but it's great because I can choose to have that interaction whenever I want and on things that I want. So as an introvert, I can say, as a business owner, I can say, today or this week, I'm focusing on this, and I know what I need to do, and I can, stay alone in the office. But then I also want to make sure that I get that exposure to others, I learn from others, and that's something that's, if you're an introvert, you have to decide to do, you have to step out and say, okay, who am I seeking out to get to know? Who are these people that I don't know yet that I should connect with and talk to and learn from? Because it's important to get that interaction and learn from others. So not just to say you talk to someone, but I think there's so much to learn from others. When you're in teams, you're learning from others. So that's what's missing if you are having your own online business and you enjoy working for yourself.
Yeah. And I think as introverts, we can spend a lot of time with the voice in our head.
Yes.
So we feel like there's always somebody there. It's not like we hear voices, but there's this, constant talking. I don't know, it's not a person, but it's just a voice that we constantly converse with. And it's true. Sometimes it's just good to break that habit and say, okay, I got to go out. I got to talk to real people.
Yes. And I think sometimes we don't see necessarily what the benefit might be, but I know that for myself, at least once a week, I would go out and work in an environment where there are others. And then when I come back, I always know it was a good thing because it kind of, I don't know, I guess it's more dynamic and it makes a change to your environment, to your working routine. And maybe you also realize how nice it is to have silence at home. So it's always good. You re-energize, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Excellent. Take us to a moment in time of an incredible aha. Some time when you thought, oh, okay, now I get it. It all makes sense.
So I will take you to December of last year. That's where my last big aha moment was. And I remember because I was on a call with my business coach. And we were discussing, I was still at my day job and I was still deciding what to do whenever I go on my own. I wasn't completely sure and I haven't decided yet to leave my job. And at that moment, I had the aha moment because I realized that I should be doing in my business what I've been doing all my life, which is very obvious to say now. When I look back, I think that's obvious. I should have known that before, but it doesn't happen sometimes. You go around in circles. So, because ever since I've been small, really like since the computers came in and the internet, I've been messing with the internet, the computers, I've been learning. And all my experience in my professional life, over 10 years of experience, has been with online marketing, project management, productivity, organization, systems. And for some reason, I was going in a different direction before. And last December, when I was on a call, I realized that I could easily put out services that are addressing exactly what my strengths were. So that's when I had like a light bulb moment, and I said, okay, I'm very clear, because it's very easy for me to write down these services and understand what I'm going to do, what my model will be. So then at the end of April, I gave my notice at my day job and started 1st of April on my own business.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a nice aha moment to have, to know, okay, I know my path now. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm going to do.
Yes, it's the clarity, right? Because I think the clarity is so much important with any, business owner, introvert or extrovert. But if you're not clear and you're an introvert, then it's hard to seek that clarity within and find it. So with the help of my business coach in that case, I kind of realized, oh, wait, there is something very specific that sounds like me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you do some things in a similar way, but for example, sometimes some things speak to your gut feeling, or, they just feel like you. And that's where sometimes the truth comes, or the decision comes, and it's like, yes, that's it. That's what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if it's an introvert trait or just...
I think, no, it's in general. I mean, I don't want to exclude extroverts here. I think it's just what when it's you, when
yes.
it just, you have that gut feeling. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wonderful. Let's talk about 3 golden nuggets now. These are the things, resources or tools who's working online. I'm sure you have a bunch of tools that you can recommend. So let's first go into a personal habit. What do you do on a regular basis that you think contributes or contributed to your success?
Sure. So one thing that I do on a daily basis that has really helped me achieve a lot during the day is every morning I first start with tasks that are usually the most, I wouldn't say difficult, but let's say creative. They require sort of freshness of the brain. And that could be something like writing content or newsletters, things that in the afternoon I would start postponing.
Mm.
But in the afternoon, before I start thinking about it, I just sit down and start doing it. That speaks to my personality, because in the morning I feel fresh. So somebody might not be a morning person, so they won't do that. But another thing I do on a daily basis in the morning when I get up is I open my planner and I block out the time for the tasks that I have, so that I know what I'm doing when. So I'm using an online tool called Asana to assign tasks per day. But then every morning I look at my Asana and I have the list. At that list, I wouldn't know how long some things are going to take or when I'm going to do them. So it's hard to start with something, and before you know it, it's lunchtime and you haven't done more than 2 things off that list. So what I decide to do is I need to know how much time that something's going to take. So I assess how much time each task is going to take, and I write it in my planner to say from 8 to 9, I'm going to write the newsletter, then I have an interview, and then from 10 to 11, I'm going to do this and that. That way, I know if I'm actually able to do all the things that I had assigned for today. And it just makes sure that I'm not overwhelmed with the long list of tasks. Mm-hmm. And it also makes sure that I do start working on things, because if it's 10 a.m. and I haven't done 2 or 3 of those things, then of course I won't be able to do the rest as well. So that's really helped me, because I just look down at my planner and I see, okay, I have another half an hour to get this finished. And what's also nice is when I get it finished, usually it's done a little bit in advance of how much time I've allotted, just because I can assess the time. And it's nice because then you get some extra 10 or 15 minutes before the next thing begins. So you feel a sense of accomplishment already during the day. I think that's important.
Yeah, the checking off. It's like, oh, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think it's important also to remember at the end of the day, usually we tend to think, oh, I didn't get to do that, I didn't do that yet. Instead, look back on all the things that you've already accomplished during that day. And I think that system that you have, that the list, really helps you, because you know, okay, I checked off all these things. Yes, I didn't get to one, but I did all these other things. So,
and if you didn't get to one, in some cases it might be simply because there was not enough time in the day, but you've at least gone in and said, I need 1 hour for this, I need 3 hours for that, and you run out of time, which is fine. But if you kind of have a list and then you get something done, you won't know whether you just procrastinated or didn't focus enough, or could you have done all of it but didn't just plan your time well.
Yeah, exactly. Great tool. Okay, so you're using Asana, the project management tool, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. What about another internet resource or a tool that you're using?
I really like Slack. Slack is like an online communication tool. I would say I call it a hybrid between a messenger and an email. It's a tool that's free, it's available online, and I use it with communication with clients that I work with on like bigger projects or ongoing projects. It eliminates a lot of the email back and forth and a lot of searching through emails of where someone said this or sent that or attached this. So Slack is a good tool. At the same time, it's not like a Facebook chat tool where you feel obliged to reply immediately, but it gives you some time where you can still, you see the messages and you can decide when you're going to reply. It would still be within the same day, but it doesn't have that feeling of, they're waiting for my reply, because it's a culture of sort of like an email communication without the extra sort of also padding that we put in the emails. In Slack, it's very direct.
Okay, it's very casual still, but
yes.
But it's not an instant messenger where you feel like, what happened to this person if she didn't reply within 2 hours, right?
Exactly. And it's organized by channels, which are sort of like topics. And that makes your communication with clients or your team very organized. So you can just make sure that you run these conversations in different channels if you have these. I wouldn't recommend it for a client that you have a very short interaction with, because then you're going to have lots of these Slack channels. But for someone you have like an ongoing projects with or work with, it's really good. Or for teams. For teams, it's also great.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'll definitely put that there. And then finally, the book. I don't know if you're an avid book reader as well. I noticed that a lot of introverts are big bookworms. So do you have a book that you would like to recommend?
Yes, so I went through my kind of library of books because I like reading as well, and one that I would recommend, and I'm sure others have recommended or have heard of it, is called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and it's not specifically for introverts, and I don't read books specifically for introverts, but this one speaks to, I think, business owners, especially for introverts maybe, who just have to go through that fear of judgment or fear of, will this be successful? What will people think? And I think maybe introverts even more so think about these things when they're creating things, when they're hiding and they have to put their work out there, they have to put their faces out there. So I think this Big Magic is sort of like giving you permission to just go for it and to do what makes you happy, what is your strength, and just have to deal with any kind of criticism or feedback. You learn how to deal with it. But if you don't go for it, then you'll never be able to go to the other side.
Wow, exciting. It just arrived seriously yesterday from Amazon. I've had it on my list for a long time, and I just received it yesterday. I'm going to bring it with me to Sicily. So looking forward to reading it. I actually took a course, a short video course on Udemy, also taught by Elizabeth Gilbert, about the same kind of topic that she wrote about in Big Magic, and it comes with some workbooks, so I highly recommend it as well. It's short, it's only an hour of videos, but it really gets you thinking. So I'll put the link to that Udemy course in the show notes as well.
Great.
Because I really enjoyed it. Excellent. Yeah, definitely looking forward to Big Magic. Did you read Eat, Pray, and Love?
I
The
did.
first book?
Yes, I did. And I also saw the movie later.
Okay, I haven't seen the movie yet, so that I still have to do. But the book was, yeah, to me that was amazing. Wonderful. Okay, I always like to end the podcast with a mindful ending. So let me ask you what you're grateful for this week or today or this summer.
I am grateful for us having the ability to have online businesses, I think, because for introverts, if you have the ability to have your own business or an online business, then as an introvert, you get to choose when you worked within your strengths and when you interact. If you need to go into, say, a work environment, working necessarily with your team or a boss or have to manage a team, it stretches you out and you don't have the choice to just lock down, in an office. So I think for introverts, that ability to decide and to mold your own kind of view on how to have a business or earn money, let's say, then I think that's something we can be really grateful for, because 10, 15, 20 years ago, that was not an option. So I think we're the generation who gets to do that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And sometimes when I have to, go out there and do presentations, I just so much look forward to getting back home and, throwing off my silly, clothes and just throw back on a jeans and just be myself and lock the office door. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think sometimes we take it for granted, or we just think, oh, this is so hard. But how lucky are we to be able to do that? Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for your time, Jana. And, now that we've done that, we definitely need to meet in person. So let's organize something.
It's true.
We meet halfway or something, and I look forward to it. Thanks
Me too.
for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
You can find Jana on her website at janabachollet.com or on Facebook, facebook.com/jbachollet. Links can be found on the show notes page at sarahsanacroce.com/episode 10. Next time I will chat to Beth Bulow. Beth is the host of probably the most popular podcast for introverts called the Introverted Entrepreneur Podcast. Beth has been running that show since 2010, and I'm really excited to talk to her. So that's it for this episode of the Introvert Biz Growth Podcast. Please come and download the 3 Golden Nugget cheat sheet that Jana shared with us today at sarahsanacroce.com/episode 10. And if you don't have it yet, get your free 4-step guide on how to say no to grow. If you like this episode, please subscribe to the show on iTunes or Stitcher and tell your friends about it. Us introverts really are in this together. I'll talk to you again in 2 weeks. I know it seems long, but time flies and pre-excitement is half the experience. Talk to you soon.